Hello and welcome back to Scarlet Rage Vintage. I did not know I would be back. I didn't know that I would want to do this. I've got a backlog of videos and sort of interviews with people that I haven't put online, and it's because I haven't felt like I wanted to be back here. And to be honest, I don't know after this video or this series if I go forward with doing this, if I will officially be back on YouTube. Something happened in my life last week that I think I needed to share. I got diagnosed with a chronic illness called lipedema. Now, I did a post on my Instagram, my personal Instagram, because no one at SRV needed to see this. This is a kind of a personal thing that I felt like I needed to just say to the world. I have had so many messages from other people who are in a similar situation to me. So let's break it down what lipedema is. Let's put it this way. I am not a doctor or a nurse or anything like that. I'm just going by what I've been told, what the specialist has said to me, and I'm going to just tell you my own personal experiences with this. Lipedema is a chronic illness. It is hormone-led, so it can start at certain big hormonal pivots in your life, sort of like puberty, pregnancy, or menopause. There is no real true research on if it is in your family or if it is just hormonal and you're just unlucky that you had this. It is a thing that can affect your arms and your legs, and it's the lymphoid fat cells that basically store all the fat. They basically don't ever let go of the fat. So basically you can start putting on weight in your arms and your legs, and it will store it and it will not get rid of it. So therefore you can start getting sort of like kind of uneven, unshapely legs, and you can get like a chronic pain. So I've been going through my whole life thinking that I was having growing pains, but I haven't grown since probably 20, I want to say. Not even 20, I think. I think I stopped growing at like 18, thanks to smoking. I want to say it started in sort of prep school, which I was about 7-ish. I've always had bigger legs. Now, I was a bigger child when I was younger. I was, I don't want to say curvy because I was just fat. But I always had oddly shaped legs, and kids at school obviously noticed that about me and thought, hey, she's odd, we'll bully the shit out of her. So I went through years of sort of bullying, and then I lost an absolute shit ton of weight. But my legs were still quite chunky. They got down, don't get me wrong, they got down, but they were still quite chunky. Then I would say in my 20s onwards, I put back on weight, and then my legs started to really change, and I started to notice that I couldn't really see my knees, and I was getting growing pains that I just have put it always down to sort of growing, which I don't know how I can, because I mean, my mind blown. I have been on a huge fitness journey for the past, I would say, 6 years, where I have been working my butt off in the gym, not just to like lose weight, just to be a healthier person and a better person. And I feel like I have done that. But main goal is that I wanted to get my legs slimmer. So, as you can imagine, I have done everything from dieting to running. My body is not made for running, to basically have no results. The most I've ever lost off my legs was 1 inch, and that was it. And after 6 years of sort of like working out, putting my body through like diets, squats, everything like that, was constantly beating myself up because I would see like my female counterparts and my friends who would diet for a week, lose like 8 pounds. And I'm just like, it took me 2 years to lose a stone. Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, how is this even possible? Lockdown happened. And I had taken I've put on weight. I know I have put on weight. I'm not where I was when I got married. And I'm kind of happy, kind of sad, kind of just in a no man's land right now with my body. And I was talking to my best friend Laurie, as you all know, who is a casting producer, and she works on Dr. Christensen. And she said to me, have you ever thought, because I was explaining, I've got some pain in my leg, and I've had pain in my leg for like years, and it goes and it comes, and it's like an ache and it's like a growing pains. And she turned around to me and she was like, have you ever heard of lymphedema? And because you might not have it. And I was like, what? She was like, oh, we had a patient on our show who was quite, she doesn't look like you. She had the extremest stages of lymphedema. And yeah, what you're telling me is very similar to what she has. And I've seen your legs, and you're not like her, but you're on a similar scale. And I was like, no, I've never heard of this. And oh my God, what the is this? So she left. And the moment she left, I was like, me and Google, we're going to be friends. We are going to be friends. Some of this is ringing so true to me, like so true. I can't self-prognosis myself because that is just wrong. I managed to find a specialist. Her name is Jane Board. She's based in East Sussex area and Kent. I called her up and I said, I think I have lymphedema and I kind of need to be diagnosed, or I need some help. And she was like, absolutely. She was probably the nicest woman I've ever spoken to on the phone. And I said to her, she was like, oh, I've got quite a bit of a waiting list, so are you okay for waiting a little bit longer? And I was like, well, it's lockdown, I'm not really going anywhere. And so I had about 3 weeks to wait until I saw her. And I sent her some pictures of my legs, which I wouldn't say it here because I have no shame in my game. If you want to know what my legs look like, here are what they look like. I will not ever wear clothes that really show my legs. Yes, at Viva Las Vegas 2 years ago, I was in a bathing suit, but I was wearing like a robe over it, and I was hitting angles where people were not seeing the full extent of my legs. And I also previously worked to going to Viva Las Vegas. I worked out 7 days a week for 6 weeks straight. So the day rolls in and she turns up and she is like as cute as a button and about that high. She did some measurements and she did some sort of touching and pinching and stuff like that. And she explained afterwards why she did this. And she sat down on the couch and she looked at me and she went, so, what you think you have, you absolutely do have. So, floodgates just opened. I then sat there and she talked to me about, so there's stages of lymphedema. There goes like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. I think there's only up to 4 stages. 4 is obviously the highest. 1 is the starting. I'm stage 1, mid-stage 1. And because of my workout routine and the way that I am so active every day, she said, you've probably hindered yourself going further. So she does you a diagnosis, and then also if you are diagnosed with that thing, she will give you a lymphatic massage, which is where it's the circulating of the fat cells and helps ease some of the pain in your legs, which was lovely. She did that for me as well. And then she explained that basically it was a chronic illness, that there was no cure, that compression socks would help me for the pain and also for just keeping my legs in a sort of a a better sort of position with blood circulation and everything like that. I also asked her if I had, because lymphedema can also happen not only on the legs but on the arms, because I lift heavy, and if you watch my Instagram videos, you know I love to deadlift, and deadlifting is my jam. Well, this is my muscle here, this is fat here, and I've had bingo kind of style wings for a long time, but this is it. I have it in my arms as well. So all that sort of, I don't know if you can see it, sort of uneven skin and sort of like patchiness, that's the fat cells storing fat and making it impossible for me to lose. Yay! I know, obviously through doing my research, that liposuction was also an option here. So I spoke to her about liposuction. I said, do you think that I would be a prime candidate for liposuction? She said yes, but she said you have to go to a specialist, like a doctor or a plastic surgeon who actually understands lymphedema, because obviously this is not normally like going for a normal liposuction, because obviously normal liposuction, people who are going for a liposuction don't have a chronic illness with what they're trying to be taken out. So the fat cells in my legs are diseased. So therefore you are essentially trying to take out the diseased parts of the fat cells in your legs to then try and make them smaller and better. And I was like, okay, shit, fine, okay. So I then posted on Instagram, on my personal page, about this and how it's not spoken about. I could have gone a lot of years in my life thinking I'm not fat, and I have a medical condition and I don't have to beat myself up about not showing my knees, because God knows I don't have knees, and I definitely don't have ankles for love nor money. I'll always remember a girl that I went to school with who was one of my closest friends always calling me cankles. Do I want ankles? No. Do I want knees? Yes, I do. So it brings me to where we are today and why I'm making this video. Today, I am going to go see a plastic surgeon. I need to tell you a couple of things. Obviously, plastic surgery is a huge, huge, huge undertaking, and it is private because the NHS doesn't really take on a lot of patients. Jane, who is my specialist, she was like, I have put forward so many cases and they have not taken X, or I've only taken one case out of how many. So I'm going today to see a plastic surgeon in Harley Street. His name is Dr. Wolf. He is recommended to me via Laurie, and he's also recommended to me via a couple of other people. I am hugely afraid of needles. I cannot tell you. I am happy to have tattoos. The moment you want to inject or take anything out of my body is the time I have a complete and utter breakdown in my mind. So the first thing I did is I emailed Dr. Wolf, and he sent me some forms that I had to fill out, and I sent him some photos of my legs. I haven't explained to him yet that I have my arms as well. That's today's surprise for him. And he called me and he wanted to talk to me a bit more about my body, my mind, where I was, that kind of understanding. Because obviously, if you're going to a plastic surgeon, they kind of need to make sure that you're okay up here. And I am generally okay upstairs. I just literally can cry at anything. And that's always been me. I mean, you could fart wrongly and I could cry. Do you know what I mean? It's terrible. And he explained the pros and the cons, and I think he will be explaining again the pros and the cons today when I'm driving to London to see him. Yes, I will be taking necessary precautions. I will obviously be masked and gloved. I want to see if he can help me. I don't necessarily want to go and put myself and my body into a major surgery where in 6 months time it can grow back, because it has. Some people have had plastic surgery and the regrowth was in like 5 months. I don't want to do that. So I'm going there for my own sort of situation. I am obviously deeply unhappy with my legs, have been deeply unhappy with my legs. That's my journey right now. This is my truth. This is my journey. I'm not doing this because I want you guys to feel sorry for me. Don't need any condolences down in the comments. I'm doing this for the people who have never heard of this or have been struggling with the same thing with their body and having no idea what it could be. You're not alone. You're not alone. And in the end of time, you're not alone. I urge you to do some research. I urge you to go get diagnosed. The NHS isn't the greatest with diagnoses. I would for sure try and find a specialist. I will link Jane's information down below, so if you are based in maybe Kent or the South Coast, or you're willing to drive and maybe meet her somewhere, you can go see her. I will be completely honestly open here, she charges £50, and that's for the diagnosis and for a lymphatic massage. And then I will also, if my experience with Dr. Wolf today goes well, I will also link his information down here because obviously I've spoken about him. I also urge anyone who has it and has been diagnosed to take the time and sort of love yourself and re-love yourself. That's what I've been doing with the past week and a half. The first 2 days I literally was just like and then since then I've sort of just come to the terms of I didn't need to beat myself up for all those years. I didn't have to be so horrible to myself. So yeah, I hope you find this video interesting. I hope you have a good day. Bye.